it's recommended that the agenda for the Police Services Board meeting of Thursday, October 28th, 2021 be accepted as presented. Could I have somebody move? Could I have a mover, please? Oh, two hands win over one, Jeff. Moved by Brett Todd, seconded by Jeff Loshaway. And it's passed. Are there any declarations of interest? There are no presentations or delegations. We've had a chance to look at the minutes. Are there any errors, omissions, additions? No, then it's recommended that the Police Services Board minutes dated September 23rd, 2021 be accepted as presented. Could I have someone move it, please? Jeff Loshaway, and seconded by Brett Todd. Move. Moving on to communications petitions. Chance to look at the action items. Anything in that? Any of the information items? Any questions? No? That it's recommended that the information items be received, noted, and filed. Have someone up? Sorry. Yes, Lindsay.
Sorry, Stan. I had wanted to make mention to item D, annual poppy campaign for the Legion.
Okay. Sorry.
Yep, that's okay. So Caitlin had conversations with the Legion about this year's service, and the Legion is following last year's, the same small group. So they're asking that the public refrain from attending. Wreaths will be placed, federal, provincial, and municipal wreaths. They're asking for representative, but all other wreaths are being placed by members of the Legion. So typically the PSB does request that a wreath be purchased and laid on their behalf. We did receive pricing, and the prices have gone up a little bit. Typically, the board does the same wreath, a number 24 wreath, and this year the price is $125. So I wasn't sure if the board wished to direct staff to purchase a wreath on their behalf for the ceremony.
I think we should just carry on a tradition and purchase the same wreath that we did last year, whether the cost has gone up or not. Anybody want to jump in on that? Mayor Todd?
Yeah, no, full agreement. Just we need another motion, I guess, with in addition to the information items. So after we clear that, just another quick one, and I'm happy to make it. Lindsay, what are the costs overall? Like, is there? I didn't see a list of the full costs here, but is there? Like, the Legion's had a rough go in the last year and a half or so. So I'm wondering if there's a way we could even. Is there another level of wreath we could do that might donate, give a little more money to their coffers, or is there?
So through you, Chair, the wreath that the PSB typically selects is the largest and the most expensive. I do believe that they're always accepting donations. I can look back to see what the typical fee is for the wreath. I think it's only gone up about $5.
Yeah, just was curious if there's another way we could show support through the PSB. I mean, we've shown a lot of municipal support to them, so but just toss it out there. I wasn't sure if that was. I thought that we always gave the largest wreath, but I just want to double check. Thanks very much.
Anything else? So Lindsay, if you could put another motion regarding the purchase of the wreath.
Yep, so I have that motion here drafted. And the suggested motion reads that the PSB approve the purchase of a Remembrance Day wreath for the local Legion branch at a cost of, and I've left that amount blank. So if it is just the wreath, I could add in there the $125, whatever the board wishes.
Would you like to put a donation in there also? Members? Jeff, Brett? All right, well, let's just go with the cost of the wreath then. And I guess I'll do the motion for the information items first, and then we'll do the motion for the wreath after, or should it be the other way around?
Through you, Chair, you started with reading the information items first, but you don't have a mover and a seconder for that one yet. I believe Mayor Todd did, but there's no seconder on this one either. So if we want to address this motion first, and then we can approve all of the information items.
Okay, well, let's go. If you want to read the motion again for the wreath.
Yep, of course. Through you, Chair, that the PSB approve the purchase of a Remembrance Day wreath for the local Legion branch at a cost of $125.
Can I have someone move? Jeff Loshaway, seconded by Mayor Todd. And it's passed. And then we'll get back to the other recommendation that the information items be received, noted, and filed. Moved by Brett Todd, seconded by Jeff Loshaway. All those in favor? I guess it's moved. Thank you. Moving on now to the police service report for September 2021.
Good morning, everybody. Are you ready for me to go through the report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry, I seem to have lost. Inspector Kingsley was on speaker with me, but he's traveling on his way through to Aurelia, and we were just going through a bad connection area. So I've just lost him, so it's just going to be me on the call here. Okay, so for the month of September, I'm just going to run through the offenses there. We had 1 sexual assault, which was historical in nature. We had 4 assaults. 1, it says an abduction, but it was a non-criminal code custody order situation. And we had 2 other crimes against persons. So a total of 8 violent crimes throughout the month of September. If you look year to date, from comparison from last year to this year, we are down 17.5% in the violent crimes category. Any questions in that category there? Okay, moving on to property crimes. So we had 2 theft overs in the month of September, 7 theft unders, which primarily were gas drive-off incidents. We had 2 frauds and 2 reported mischiefs. If you look comparatively from last year to September of this year, we are down 104 versus 126, which gives us a 17.5% decrease in the property crime category. And then our drug crimes, there was nothing to report in September of this year, but we continue to have active investigations that are ongoing that eventually will lead to cultivating information that lead to search warrants. So on the next page, we have our clearance rates, and you'll see our violent crime rate year to date is 59.6%. Our property crime rate 17.3%, and our drug crime 71.4%, giving us a total of 33.9% overall of violent property and drug crimes. And as always, this number is reported as dynamic in nature as we continue to investigate crimes, and that number could change. Are there any questions in those 2 pages? Okay. So in the month of September, we did not have any public complaints, policy or service or conduct complaints. We have 6 offenders in the intelligence-led policing crime abatement strategy program. We had 10 checks that were performed in the month of September. Under the reported patrol hours, we had 97.5% cruiser patrol hours, and we had 25.5 hours of foot patrol and 4 hours of school patrol hours. Detachment initiatives. In the month of September, we had 1 media release related to a lone anti-mask protester. We had participation in the McHappy Day and a tweet posted to publicly acknowledge our engagement in the community. We also had a provincial traffic campaign during the Labor Day weekend focusing on the Big Four, and members of our detachment participated and engaged with motorists, and as a result, we yielded some excellent results. And other initiatives, our MCIRC program was involved in 8 incidents and checks, then connecting those with mental health services in the community during the month of September. And I'm not going to run through the billing summary report unless there's any specific questions in regards to that. I'll just review quickly the overall calls for service billing summary year-to-date September 2021. As you can see, our weighted hours are a little bit less than 2020 of last year. So there's a bit of a decrease in that in all of the categories there. Are there any questions about the September 2021 report?
Anyone with questions? No?
Okay, thanks.
Sorry?
Thank you.
Okay. Then it's recommended that the Police Services Board report for September 2021 be accepted as presented. Do you have someone move, please? Moved by Brett Todd, seconded by Jeff Loshaway. All those in favor? Is carried. We have another item, the taxi update report.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Sorry, yes.
So, yeah, no problem. So yeah, there's a grand total of 3 taxi companies in town, A1, Fort Town, and Jim's. The number of cab licenses each one has is listed, and the total number of drivers. Inspections were completed of all the units in March, which is our normal renewal period when we do all the cabs. And also then during the summer months, we made a concentrated effort to get out and inspect all the cabs again. During that time, basically one cab was given a direction to repair a situation, which they did. And that's currently how many cabs are operating in the town of Prescott, 9 at this point.
Any questions on this? No. Let's move on to
Sorry,
bylaw update, please. Oh, sorry.
sorry. Mayor Todd had his hand up. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, did he? Sorry.
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah.
Mayor Todd?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could just on the spot to inspections, because this has been an issue for a number of years and we've had some comments from the community, and I know there was a concern raised via the OPP earlier this year, which led me to ask this be brought back for a look-see today. But are we going to continue with the spot checks as we go forward and not just rely on the yearly on that yearly check? If I could ask Mr. Merriman that through you.
We'll certainly take a look to see if we can fit it in. My goal would be to get it to at least twice a year, if not quarterly. It's just a question of making sure we have time. I can tell you that every time we get a concern from the public, we do make a concentrated effort to address it. The biggest problem is, and it even seems to fluctuate driver to driver, and it's a question of trying to get the right driver in the cab at the right time if it's a problem. And I mean, we end up speaking with the owners of the taxi companies when we receive a concern to see if it can be addressed. And sometimes it's addressed by the taxi owner simply letting that driver go. Like I say, basically, so far, every time we've got there, other than the one incident, which really didn't have much to do with, it had a little bit to do with it. It was a broken rear window, like a crack in it or whatnot, like in the thing that relatively they're clean when we see them. So.
Yeah, if I may,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, it's been an ongoing issue for quite a while now, and we've got more cabs than I think we've ever had in town with the 3 companies. And there's only so many ways you can cut that pie here for revenue in town, and something's got to give in some way with that number of vehicles. And I'm been concerned about this for a while now, and I know that was expressed to me from some members of the public and also via some policing issues that I can't get into the specifics of here, but it's just an ongoing concern. So I'm glad to see the spot checks, and I know it's a drain on resources internally with us and in terms of looking after this, but I think it's something we've got to keep a close eye on, because there have been obviously some situations there in the past that are continuing. So good to hear that most passed, but I think it's just got to be an ongoing effort. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Sean.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes.
I think Officer Belanger has a.
Oh, okay. The screen doesn't show me everybody at once.
It doesn't show anybody. I'll just speak up next time.
Yeah. Okay,
So
Sean. Okay.
did have an officer who conducted a traffic stop regarding a driver from Prescott Taxi who was operating with a suspended driver's license.
Oh, okay.
So that wasn't too long ago. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I'm not sure what like the suspension was relatively new, so perhaps during your checks it wasn't.
Well, yeah, we do check them, like I say, but if something like that comes up where something, by all means, reach out to the town. We'll make sure we follow up and make sure that the driver's license for that taxi driver is suspended so that he can't even drive one more day. So
that'd be great. Yeah, I don't know if he's reinstated it yet or not, but we can follow up with that.
What's the system on the suspended license? Does it go through the OPP, or is it also CC'd to the bylaw enforcement in the municipality?
So I'm not sure about the suspended cab license. This was a suspended driver's license, so we just caught it by it was a traffic stop, and we just ran it through MTO, and we discovered that his license was suspended.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of those things that are checked once a year, Stan. It's one of those things, if it just happened, we wouldn't know about it. MTO doesn't notify us. But if the OPP would not mind sharing it with us, almost any traffic stops regarding the taxi cab companies, we would appreciate it in bylaw, because then at that point we can follow up with either warning letters or suspensions of licenses as
well, is
merits.
it not on the taxi companies? Are they not responsible to inform you that one of their drivers has been suspended or has a suspended license?
They would, but they may not know. Again, they probably only pull abstracts every 3 months. So,
Okay. Well, maybe the spot checks, that's, is a good thing. Thank you, Shane. Anything else?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Todd?
I was just going to add virtually just to follow up something that Sean did touch on after Shane's report, that I think you've got mean, they're still pretty small companies, and I don't know if drivers are sharing information like this with the owners or who exactly was caught driving suspended, but still at the end of the day, the company actually should be held accountable. And I hope we have some measures in place to help ensure that this is taken very seriously, and there's some measures so that companies will make sure this doesn't happen again. They've got to be on the line here at the end, and just something I think we've got to keep an eye on, because we have had some issues, and this is obviously just one of them, a very serious one.
Is there anything in any of the bylaws or whatever that puts the onus back onto the taxi company itself?
It's always back on the taxi owner in the end, but as a person who's owned a trucking company, I can tell you, I had one person have a heart attack once, and he had his license suspended, and he never advised us, and we were pulling abstracts every 30 days. And it didn't change the fact that he was still driving with a suspended license. Remember, a suspended license can be to a lot of reasons. It can be a medical reason. It can be a non-payment of a fine reason. It can be alcohol related. But like I say, it is on their onus. And in the end, all we can do is keep checking. And like I say, if we keep communicating, hopefully it'll occur less, as information comes. Because in the end, a taxi is an extremely important form of trust, really, with the community, with the people that are getting into it, and also with the ability for them to, safely carry out and lawfully carry out their duties. So.
Yeah, I'm not that concerned about, well, I am concerned about it actually, but we're not going to catch everybody. I get that all the time, but there needs to be punitive measures after the fact with this, because there's just got to be more accountability. And I just don't think we have quite enough of that with certain issues with the cab companies in town at times. That's my only point.
Okay. Is there anything else on? As I scroll through everybody here, nothing else. All right, let's move on to anything under old business. No? Anything under new business? Yes, Mayor Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I apologize for adding this at the last minute, but it's just in relation to something that happened yesterday. We did have, I guess, a motor vehicle accident with a pedestrian at the crosswalk at South Grenville District High School. I've got a couple of people upset about that. Well, we're all upset about it. Actually, nobody wants to see that in town. But the question then goes to, is there anything we can do about that? And it's brought out issues with the crosswalks and some of the corners in town overall, because we've made some changes there in recent years. So I was just wondering if through you, we could request the OPP. It'd be good to have an update in the accident stats at those corners, particularly the one where this happened yesterday, just to see just how big of an issue this actually is, particularly with that crosswalk. But if we could get those stats for the Edward Street crossings overall, just to get an idea of what's happening there, I think would be good statistic to have based on community discussions and where this might lead. And I was going to request that we could maybe see some more traffic patrols in town. I know the OPP were very vigilant and have very much been on the traffic issue, particularly in relation to speeding in recent months. And since we moved to 40 in town, I do think that traffic, it just is totally anecdotal, but it does seem like traffic flow is up. It seems like speed is up a little bit. So if we could request it, it'd be good to see a little more activity and patrols monitoring speed, particularly on Edward and King Streets. But I did want to ask about the traffic stats for those areas, because I think we're going to have a little more activity from some people in the community asking for some changes there. So the stats would be good to know, and if there are any, if there's any input from the traffic officers with the OPP on those intersections, if there are changes that could be made that could increase the visibility. We've had an ongoing issue, not so much at the crosswalk right at the high school, but with the one further down towards Irvin and Edward, right by the Tim Hortons and the Burger King. That one is actually, there are some clear visibility issues there with that crosswalk. But it'd be just good to know if we could have something brought back, just with potential recommendations there as well. So just throw that out there and ask if Nancy or Shane could even comment on that this morning and what we could look at there. Thank you. And again, I apologize for tossing this really under the agenda at the last minute, but this just happened yesterday.
Shane, Nancy?
Morning. Now, unfortunately, I was not working yesterday when this all occurred. I'm learning about it this morning. I know I was speaking with the inspector here earlier and informed me about this incident. Perhaps Shane, were you privy to information yesterday when this was occurring?
Nope. Oh, you're muted, Shane.
Sorry, I'm
There
just
we go.
having some technical difficulties here trying to get it. So there we go. No, I'm not privy to what had happened. So I'd have to follow up with the officers to see what the circumstances were for this collision.
Okay.
We can certainly, moving forward, have our TMOs give some recommendations in terms of what their thoughts are at that crosswalk, and we can certainly look at. We can see what the process is to get some statistics in regards to any collisions in those particular crosswalk areas.
Would that go through Sean's department? If you could coordinate with Sean, I guess.
Absolutely, I will coordinate with the OPP.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair, and thanks, Nancy and Shane. Yeah, the more information, the earlier on this one, because there's been some pressure building on some of the crosswalks and those downtown corners in the last few months, and this has pushed it to the point where we're going to be looked for some action as a municipality, and I just like to be prepared with as much information as possible to look at the best possible decisions here. So if we get something in the not too distant future, be really fantastic.
Sure. And
Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to say, and just as a side note, when I did speak with Inspector Kingsley, he did inform me that one of our officers, PC Holmes, who's part of the MCERT program, was on scene very quickly with the Brockville General Hospital nurse that works alongside with him. So she was able to address any immediate medical attention. So certainly from our perspective, there was a quick response from the OPP.
Yeah, I did hear that as well. Thanks so much for that. The student was seen to very quickly, and that was a good result there for sure, that the student wasn't more seriously injured.
Sure. Certainly we'll follow up with regards to the recommendations from our traffic management officers and look at those areas of concern.
One question. It was what, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Again, I'm not sure. I wasn't working, so.
Okay, I was just wondering, would the crossing guard have been on duty or no?
So no, so I believe it was between 10:30 and 11. And
Okay. Oh, all right.
and crossing guards are told to us by STIO, the Transportation Authority, as to what times they want them at each of the crosswalks and at schools. And so we take their lead in terms of that information. And generally they require them at the beginning of school and at the end of school, not throughout the day. Certainly we'll reach out to STIO, we'll work with the OPP. To be clear, those types of crosswalks that the incident happened at is the highest level of crosswalk that you can have. It kind of goes down from there in terms of the amount of safety and recognition from drivers. So it just to be under a clear understanding that there's only so much that that can occur at crosswalks, and certainly we'll make every effort to take the recommendations and incorporate them.
Those obviously, and then there's the flashing lights and everything there at that crosswalk, right?
This particular crosswalk is actually traffic lights, so it's
Yes.
the red, yellow, green. So that is kind of what you would consider the gold standard when it comes to crosswalks.
Yeah, because it's activated by the button.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the struggle with this one because it's a fully lighted, full traffic light intersection, and it is difficult to see what else can be done there. But we're going to be asked to do more, and there will be suggestions, I'm sure, coming through, and just we should be prepared with how we're going to respond.
Good. Is there anything else? I must apologize to Sean. I did not let you finish your report, but sorry.
That's okay. It was just the monthly report. The nice thing is bylaw and the OPP have been working hand in hand, and especially as it relates, often a lot of it has to do with homelessness or home, what I call home insecurity. They helped us and we worked hand in hand regarding 3 incidents during the month of September to help people get some assistance that they needed, while at the same time making sure that they were not basically camping out in an inopportune or inappropriate spot within the town.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. Mayor Todd, you had a.
Yeah, I had another one under new business, if I may. Just we did have that story that somehow became semi-national news this past week about the fight club at South Grenville District High School. I guess one of the kids broke the first rule of Fight Club. And anyways, just asking the officers, is that something we've got to be concerned about on an ongoing basis? Just the way it was described made it seem like it's just teenage boys fighting, but is this something that is something we should be more concerned about as a community overall? And is there anything else that's ongoing there to make sure these sorts of arranged fights aren't continuing at South Grenville? The story did get traction just because of the Fight Club comment, so I felt I just had to ask that this morning. Any comment from the officers today?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. There's nothing that, from my perspective, at the onset that we should be concerned about, but certainly we can look further into it and assess as the situation evolves if it does. But from our perspective, unless Shane has something additional to add.
Nothing really. I mean, additional patrols have been made to see exactly what was going on, and there was nothing of concern that was brought up by the officers doing the patrols. Not sure if there's been any further complaints regarding the alleged fight clubs, but it's certainly something that we continue to watch out for when we are able to.
Yeah, it seemed like the media was making a lot of this, and it was picked up. CTV picked it up across the board, and it's just something I got a fair number of comments about, with concerns about what might be happening in the high school. So it's good to know that it doesn't seem to be more than what the base facts indicated that it was. Thank you.
Is there anything else under new business? Moving on then to the PSB public service announcement. Perhaps we can add something about the crosswalk usage, proper way. Obviously. And the other thing too is, can we, I know the OPP work with the high schools and the public schools. Is there any way of reinforcing the proper, use the marked areas for crossing the road, not in between or running across from whatever to the other side? Anything on this? Anybody have anything to add? No?
Certainly, we can reach out to the school, remind them, have students be well aware of those types of issues. However, our understanding is that this person was in the crosswalk, that the lights were activated, that the red light was there, and the accident still occurred. But certainly we'll reach out and remind everyone of the appropriate use of crosswalks and just general pedestrian vehicle safety.
Anything else for the PSB announcement? No? Are there any other questions going back to any of the other items, concerns? Then, am I missing anybody there, Lindsay? I can't, again, I have to scroll around. No? Then I guess we'll go to adjournment. It's recommended that this meeting adjourn to Thursday, November 25th, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. Could I have somebody move? Jeffrey Loshway, seconded. All those in favor? All right. And the time now is 9:11. Thank you very much. Everybody have a great day.